Strange events that happened at the Triangle stuns the team in this episode on the Skinwalker Ranch. These strange events has constantly left the team wondering what could be happening on this ranch. In this recent episode of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, the crew conducts a comprehensive experiment in order to investigate the anomaly known as the Triangle Lock. However, their plans take an unexpected turn when 3 rockets deviate from their intended path, and one drone begins to behave in an unpredictable manner. The use of infrared imaging has also shown the presence of a mystery object in the sky. In spite of the setback, the group is able to retrieve important information and evaluate the state of the drones. The group also engages in other activities, such as the launch of more potent rockets, during which they observe many objects behaving in strange ways while moving in close formation. Shockingly, strange events at the Triangle stuns the team. This unanticipated turn of events strengthens their resolve to carry on with the experiment and discover much more concealed information. The group also considers the potential that the unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAP, that was producing a significant amount of heat could be hidden within the anomalous zone that was located above the Triangle, or that it could have disappeared altogether. However, despite all of their attempts, they have not been successful in locating or confirming the presence of the most powerful rocket that has ever been launched at the ranch. The investigators at the Skinwalker Ranch prepare for a thorough investigation in order to determine the nature of the anomaly at the Triangle Lock. They simultaneously launch 6 rockets and operate a swarm of 250 drones. However, things immediately take a bizarre turn as 3 rockets veer off their intended path, and 1 drone begins to fly erratically. The thermal signature likewise suggests the presence of a strange object in the sky. In spite of the oddities, the crew was able to collect useful data and evaluate the damage sustained by the drones in preparation for future investigation. They come to the conclusion that launching more powerful rockets is the best way to improve their chances of finding an explanation for the weird occurrences that have been taking place. However, when the rockets are fired into the air, an unexpected occurrence takes place. Multiple things suddenly materialize in close proximity to one another and move in ways that do not appear to be normal. This is a huge development for the team, and it leaves them excited to continue their experiment and see what other things might materialize in the sky as a result of this. In addition to this, they discover that the unknown aerial phenomenon, UAP, that is releasing a significant amount of heat cannot be seen with the naked eye. This raises the question of whether the UAP is being obscured or cloaked by anything, or whether it has disappeared into the anomalous zone that is located above the Triangle. They have tried everything they can think of to locate it, including shooting the most powerful rocket they've ever had at the ranch, but they haven't been able to find it or any clues that it's there. The team has attempted everything they can think of to find it, including firing the most powerful rocket they've ever had at the ranch. The group speculates that the enigmatic circular anomaly that can be seen above the Triangle on the ranch might actually be the shadow of a wormhole. The LIDAR data reveals an anomaly that is precisely circular and is placed directly above the launch pad. It is encircled by a desolate region all around it. The group has come up with the working theory that this anomaly, which is analogous to stealth technology, is either deflecting laser beams or blocking them. They hypothesize that it is either a portal or a Lorentzian wormhole that may be traveled through, which would provide an explanation for the different occurrences that have been observed in the region. This unusual oddity has piqued their attention, and they are more committed than ever to figuring out what it is. To that end, they are planning additional investigations and simultaneous rocket launches to gather more data on the subject. In addition to this, they discuss a weird circular anomaly that they found on the ranch that is located directly above the Triangle, and which they suspect may be the shadow of a wormhole. They have gathered LIDAR data that reveals an aberration that is completely spherical and is bordered by another abnormality that is darkish. The anomaly may be found directly above the launch pad, which is the area where rockets are blasted off into space. The team hypothesizes that this anomaly is either obstructing laser beams or bending them in another direction, in a manner analogous to the operation of stealth fighters. They hypothesize that this anomaly is either a portal or a Lorentzian wormhole that can be traveled through. The energy spikes, the blob, unidentified flying objects, and other phenomena that have been recorded at the Triangle might all be explained by this idea. The group intends to do additional research into this phenomenon and is considering carrying out multiple rocket launches in order to collect additional information. In general, the finding of the anomaly has boosted both their interest in and attention to investigating the nature of the phenomenon. There is one undeniable fact concerning Skywalker Ranch and the surrounding Uinta Basin. The enigma has persisted despite years of research and analysis, and the same might be said about the larger mystery of UAP. Fugel is confident that the ongoing inquiry at Skywalker Ranch has the key to solving both riddles. As soon as Fugel purchased the property, he began sending in his own private investigators. As a component of our research, he announced, "I have presented a team that is comprised of professionals from a variety of backgrounds. In order to figure out what is going on, physicists, engineers, and scientists from a wide variety of fields are collaborating with one another." According to Fugel, his team has conducted drone aerial inspections, soil investigations, and analysis of seismic data in trying to determine whether or not the observed events can be explained by more prosaic, natural sources. Fugel wanted to keep his anonymity so that he wouldn't tarnish his image in his other businesses. No one wants to be typecast as the UFO guy. He claims, however, that the overwhelming majority of responses have been supportive and genuinely curious. After all, nearly everyone has an account of a mysterious event they were unable to fully explain at the time. This raises the question, why aren't we giving UAP research the attention it deserves? Okay, maybe a few of them are. First and foremost, the government of the United States of America. There have been efforts to look into UAP and other mysteries, but they haven't been widely known about until recently. It's currently unknown whether or not this line of inquiry is being explored at Skywalker Ranch, but Fugel has hinted that it may expand to include studies of human awareness. He calls it precognitive, sentient, non-human intelligence. What he means is that it can anticipate and even be aware of your thoughts and consciousness and react according to your intention that you bring to the property. To this day, Fugel's team has received no clear indication of the nature or goals of this entity or entities. He thinks they are seeing a diversity of origins and agendas, and that there are malevolent, benevolent, and benign forces at play. Have you subscribed yet? Subscribe now for more thrilling updates on the Skywalker Ranch. Fugel is under the impression that there is more going on at Skywalker Ranch than first appears, and that the ranch itself may hold the answer to figuring out what is going on there. If we can utilize the ranch as a kind of living laboratory to demonstrate that we are not alone in the universe by our contacts with extraterrestrials, interdimensional phenomena, or spiritual creatures, then the evidence will be quite persuasive. Is it possible that Fugel's science project, as he refers to it, which is located on a ranch in the middle of nowhere in northeastern Utah, is the one thing that will unlock the mystery of the universe? Whatever it is, Fugel is confident in his belief in it now. He contends that they have to gain the most compelling evidence regarding the reality of the phenomenon on the planet, that we are not alone, that our reality is more complex than it may seem, and that there is more at work in our world than many may realize. Strange findings continues to startle researchers. Could this be aliens? Click on the next video to find out more.